American Fork. American Fork.
Welcome back to the American Forked podcast. You were
Welcome.
Yeah, you were
Back.
You were
Two.
probably missing us, right? Because it's been so long.
American Fork.
You thought
Four.
you thought
Podcast.
you thought that we stopped podcasting altogether, but
Psych.
You're stupid.
we're still here.
We didn't stop.
Oh,
We're still so unprofessional and interrupting every single second that you can imagine.
yep,
You're stupid.
right here on American Forked. So everyone have a good break.
Yeah, that was a really good intro, Phil.
Yeah,
Good job.
You're welcome. We've got Trent here with us.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Trent and
Hi.
Jake
Hey guys.
and Jeff?
I'm here.
And this is Phil. I'm your host tonight on this dedicated ceremony.
This morning.
First up, how was Christmas? Anyone get something good?
Yeah,
What?
I got Legos.
Did you?
Yep. Old ass man still getting Legos.
Oh, that's right. You got a typewriter.
I love it. It's
Yeah?
awesome. I did one step and then my son started getting in my face, so I put it away.
So you're not done with it?
It's
I'm not done with it
it's
at
not
all.
a father-son activity.
How big is it?
I don't. It's not a full size typewriter, but it's like my hands are separated by like 1
About
foot
13
3,
inches.
1 foot, yeah, something like that.
That's like 14 or 15 inches.
I listen.
Well, I got the best Christmas present ever.
The love of your wife.
I got some of that.
A little bit.
But it's an alarm that it's a decibel alarm. So you set the sound threshold setting and an alarm goes off. So instead of like constantly yelling at my kids to be quiet, it just beeps. And they've all like been trained in like a week to
Wait
quit
a second.
screaming
Oh,
in the house.
if they exceed a decibel inside of the house,
it ring. It goes
No.
beep,
that's
beep, beep.
awesome.
Did you get that at
It's
PetSmart?
the best thing ever. So Crystal, I guess she saw it. We went to an Airbnb this summer or something, and they had one in there.
No.
I didn't even notice, but she noticed it and like emailed the people like, "Hey, where'd you get that?" And she got me one, and it's the best. It's the best.
Wait, the
the
best present you got for Christmas was something that shuts your kids up.
Yes.
You were just saying how you didn't want your kid near you while you're playing with your Legos.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, we moved on.
No, Jeff said he put his Legos away so that he could play with his kids.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Is that
Jake.
what you heard?
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, that's what
That's
me
right.
and my attorney are going with.
Anyway, it was awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Where's it located?
On our piano in the living room,
Oh my god.
in the central location of the home.
The real question is, what's the decibel set at? Like 4?
So I set it at 85.
Anything above a whisper?
Yeah.
I set it at 85 decibels, which is the threshold of hearing loss if it's like continuous.
Wow.
But it actually is pretty amazing because we'll watch TV as loud as we normally do. We talk and everything. And then the kids,
As soon
every
as
once in a
Micah
while, will
screams.
squawk or someone will scream and it'll peak it. Like it's the perfect threshold.
So have you got it to where it's like Pavlov's thing? Like as soon as the buzzer goes off, the kid gets a whipping, and that's why they shut up? Or
No,
what is it?
Yeah.
I thought at first it would just be like a joke, but it really has changed behavior, like already.
That's so
because it's
funny.
not like a human, like saying something and there's like all that, like, oh, my mom's telling me to be quiet again or whatever.
It
It's
wasn't
like,
even that loud.
yeah, it's like this non-emotional like thing that
It's just
like,
fact.
It just helps someone realize, how loud they're being. And
Yeah.
it's been great for me. Maybe that sounds like I'm a
So
jerk of a parent, but
so you know the game at the carnival where you hit something and the meter goes up and you try and hit the high part and hit the bell? That game?
yeah.
Trent has one of those decibel readers in his bedroom for the same reason.
But I want to reach the high one. That's different. It's exactly the opposite. I'm looking for the most amount of
He's
noise.
trying to make the
Yes.
alarm go off.
He gets
Yeah.
a teddy.
On the
He gets a
ceiling.
teddy bear if he
Right.
hits the bell.
And if it does, alarms blare in like
Hell
the
yeah.
whole neighborhood.
And you're just like, oh, thank
It's
God.
like an air raid siren from World War II. It is nice.
That would be good. But anyway, American
That's
Forked.
funny.
American Forked is a podcast by lifetime friends or friends who've been friends their whole lives or the majority of their lives.
Yeah, we're not dead yet.
Long time. We're just going with long time.
But we all grew up to
We
be,
love you long time.
We grew up to be different people, but we're still friends, even though we disagree on
Everything.
like how to raise children or what vaccine to get or not get or anything.
Holy water.
Or holy water.
Yeah. Oil.
So anyway, we talk about.
But wait a sec. I wanted to hear what these guys get for Christmas.
Oh
too.
yeah, we're gonna talk about
No,
that.
let's
Oh,
move
okay,
on.
okay.
But
I got a Glock.
did you get a Glock?
I got a 380. Yeah.
Whoa!
Wait, 380? Mm-hmm. What are you going
From who?
Squirrel hunting?
From my dad.
Oh,
that's
did you?
cool.
I was gonna say your wife didn't go.
Like a
buy it.
hand-me-down or a new one?
It was one that he had bought that he never used. So yeah.
Oh.
So he gave you leftovers. He's like,
I-
hey,
That's cool, though.
I lightened his burden.
Yeah.
That's cool,
But-
though. My dad had a gun that I totally wish I got, and I just have to wait for him to die, I guess. I didn't get it for
We
Christmas.
can arrange that.
Huh?
So if
What?
your dad gives you a gun, does he like have to file paperwork or whatever?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I have
No,
it though.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
You're supposed to.
If you are, don't listen to this, police officers.
I don't think you're supposed to.
I think you're supposed to register a gun in your name.
I don't think so. I
You
think
don't
private
register
sales.
a gun in Utah.
I
Yeah?
think private sales you don't have
Oh. I don't think you have to. I think you're supposed to.
to.
It's
So
Is
it's
it-
not going to happen.
no.
Oh, okay.
What'd you get, Trent?
Kylie and I didn't give presents.
Oh, nothing.
The presents of each other was perfect. No, we're going to Mexico.
Are you? When?
March.
Oh,
Right when Santa Claus comes down the chimney in March, they're going to Mexico.
what part are you going to?
Cabo.
Are you? Oh, Cabo was fun.
I heard they're going to rent a whole plane and just crowd surfing stupid asses and
Yep. Kylie
35
became an
friends.
influencer from Canada the other day.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring 50 friends and we're going to crowd surf. You're not invited.
What's crowd surf like?
Yeah.
some people
That's
on the
his
crowd?
question.
Raising the roof. Uh-huh.
Got it.
I think 12 people will get that.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Anyway, on this podcast, we talk about local news from our dear old hometown, American Fork, which I couldn't find much, but I got pretty close to Provo.
It's like 30 minutes away.
Oh, this is actually like personal news. So the guy that I rent a storage unit from had his catalytic converter stolen off two of his vehicles parked in different locations in Provo.
Wow.
In the last week.
So meth heads are moving down there. Is that the
It's
news?
big. It's a big thing lately. Is the catalytic converters?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law got his taken off his Land Rover.
Yeah, and I didn't even know where the catalytic converter was. I thought it was up near the engine somewhere, but I guess
No.
it's down
And like the
where
muffler,
the
right?
where the muffler is.
Yeah.
So I guess they get down there with a sawzall, cut your muffler
tack it off and go.
and off they go.
Ironically,
so-
I've recently ran into 2 catalytic converters in my basement
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
You
I
just
have
found
them.
them? Oh,
in Provo.
that's cool.
They were just lying around underneath this car.
Oh,
What?
I just had to cut it out.
Oh my god. That is a real problem. I know.
In 2 different locations.
I've actually given an estimate for someone to build a big wall to park their it's a school, so they have like these little mini buses, right? Like the smallest bus you can get, basically. They had like 6 of them because it's like a preschool, and they wanted to build like a structure that they could lock their vehicles in, or they're like, we want to do chain link fence, but we think people could just get through the chain link. Anyways, long story short, I'm like, why are you guys doing this? And they're like, well, we've had in the last 6 years, we've probably had 15 or 20 of these catalytic converters stolen.
wow.
And it's not cheap to replace them. It's
Couldn't you just
expensive.
build like 4 fences with a roof on it and just call it a garage for him?
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you
could've.
could do that.
He just didn't want to build chain link because he's like, well, then people can see
Right.
it and whatever. They wanted
No,
to build
Trent,
like
it's a
actual walls.
It's a structure, not a garage.
It's interesting because I wouldn't say I cache a lot of metal, but working in construction, I'll come along scrap metal, and so I'll pile it up near my shop and then cash it in eventually.
Take it
And
to
if you take
MCR.
any like more precious metal, like even copper or brass, they usually take your ID like for that reason, so people aren't like stripping wires out of houses or catalytic converters or whatever. So
Well, I'm sure there's a black market for it, right?
that's what I'm going to say. There has to be some type of
Non-denominational
a network,
market.
Yeah.
a
for
network under the table for
yeah.
If you want to see a beautiful side of where humanity's gotten, go out by the recycling place. Like there's a place called Metro Recycling in Salt Lake, and and just go out there during the day, especially during the summer. There'll be cars parked out there, and meth heads just stripping wire. Like because if you strip the plastic off the wire, it's worth more money by 4 cents a pound or something. I mean, it's stupid. It's not worth any normal person's time. But if you're a drug addict, it's pretty cool.
If you can get
That's not very
$7, if you can get $7 from a 20-foot wire, then
Yeah.
My grandpa used to
crazy.
burn the wire. He'd throw like a stack of wire in a barrel.
The
and
carbon
burn it
footprint
off.
from your family alone.
No, from my grandfather alone.
I've been camping with you from you alone as well. Like, why are you using styrofoam to start this fire?
I once
in airheads.
I once watched my grandpa pick up a barrel, a 50-gallon barrel of oil with his forklift on his tractor, but he penetrated the barrel as he picked it up and then drove it all over the farm and leaked oil, like tons of oil all over the place.
Approximately 55 gallons,
Yeah.
I'd say.
And he's like, that dang government had come out here and tell me not to do this.
What was he
like that.
doing?
trying
It
to
was an
feed his
accident.
sheep.
I think it was actually oiling the road so it wouldn't be dusty
Or grow anything
or grow
ever.
anything. Something like that.
Or nothing would ever grow.
Do you know water could? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
my
interesting.
my grandpa, he worked at the boiler place out in Dugway on the military base. Everything that place ever got rid of, and I mean that place, the military base. Anything anyone ever got rid of, he took over to his farm and stuck it there. So they're just hundreds of barrels of who knows what chemical and
Mustard
all
gas.
this asbestos pipe and
gas.
mustard. Exactly, it's pretty wild.
That's crazy, actually.
Anyway, moving on to county-wide news.
Great.
So the county prosecutors have decided, and I'm talking about Utah County. County prosecutors have decided to no longer seek the death penalty. So they've changed the charges for Matt Frank Hoover, who fatally shot a police officer in Provo in 2019. They're pretty much lessening the charge to aggravated murder or whatever instead of capital murder or whatever gets you the death penalty versus not, because they said the evidence shows what they're claiming is that the death penalty is not a deterrent. People aren't not killing people because of the death penalty.
Maybe
Maybe,
you need to kill him sooner.
yeah.
It should be like death penalty.
The end.
Have a firing
Yep.
squad there in the courtroom.
Right. As soon as they say done, pow.
Yep.
It would really
just
make
gotta-
it a lot more fun to watch.
They've just got a spike that goes up the seat that he's sitting on as soon as...
Ooh.
What, did you go to the gay club the other day with Frazier?
No, Disneyland. The
Oh,
Bug-
yeah, the gay
The
club.
Bug's
I said.
Life.
Bug's Life.
Yeah,
Right.
right up your anus.
Anyway, I thought,
The hell did I just miss?
There's a ride, or there used to be a ride. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it?
they got rid of Bug's Life and replaced it with something else.
It was a ride. You go in and it was like a 3D experience and stuff. But part of it
You
was
sit in
like
the seat and watch the bugs thing, and it's all 4-dimensional. So you put on the glasses, it's 3D, but they've got the scents and the water and the spray. And when the ants get out or something, there's a thing that goes under your seat that feels like they're crawling underneath your
and it's like
your legs.
and it pushes up on your bum bum.
So when you sit on it, right, it feels good.
Yeah, that's why they got rid of it. Yeah,
ew, that sounds disgusting.
You get water
It's pretty fun.
jetted up your butthole
up your.
at least 5
Okay.
times a day.
This is turning into an anti-bidet
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
discussion.
This
You're
is-
outnumbered,
This
Trey.
isn't a safe space as long as you support bidets.
Oh, that's the line?
Yeah, where we were talking about we're all friends because we believe different things.
Yeah.
Not this one
not
thing.
bidets.
Right.
Right. That's the one thing that we
Yeah.
all have to agree on.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I take it back. I didn't know this was a problem.
Thank
It
you.
is.
So that's a county-wide thing.
Countywide, well,
The death
yeah,
penalty
the county
thing.
prosecutors, I believe. So I don't know what the state. I
Seems like it
assume.
would- thought it'd be a
I
state
assume there's
thing.
still death penalty in the state. Otherwise, they wouldn't be changing the charge.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just in Utah County, they're not going to do that.
I thought that guy got the death penalty for discovering the Hoover maneuver. What's his name again?
Apparently, Matt Frank Hoover.
Yeah, he figured out the Hoover maneuver and they threw him right in jail.
That's probably what it was.
Okay. Moving on.
Salt Lake County just instituted a mask mandate
Yep.
It started last night at midnight.
last night. It goes for 30 days.
Which is why we're all wearing masks. Sorry about the audio quality.
we're not even in Salt Lake, actually.
We are in
We
Salt
are
Lake
in Salt
County.
Lake County.
We'll go over
No.
geography
we're in
later.
American
Oh, no, we
Fork.
are. I see you
We're
trying to
in
like,
a-
no, we are.
Oh, yeah. Click.
Click.
It's groups of 7 or above. though.
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
Oh.
It's not just like like you mowing your lawn, which you wouldn't do right now, but you don't have to do that. But groups of 7, yeah.
I see.
Oh, well, that's more information than I got from the news report.
If you're
I
mowing
read.
your lawn in January, just give them the virus.
Yeah.
Or give them the vaccine, whichever's more deadly.
Okay.
Yeah, Utah just had its deadliest day yet in this pandemic. 44 people died on January 5th.
Yay, COVID.
So
And that's like a huge jump because
Oh, yeah.
we've averaged between like 12 and 20 every day.
yeah.
And it jumped way up this week.
The second highest was last winter, was 33, I believe there was in a day. But yeah, it's a big jump.
I'd like to know how many of the virus molecules we've killed, though. Like, let's keep a tally of both,
Right.
right?
That's probably a lot in the trillions. It's probably
See,
almost as much as how much money we've spent
Yeah.
battling coronavirus.
I feel like the money's a little higher.
Like
Yeah, probably.
$1 per virus molecule. It's not bad. I'm just saying we're winning still.
Yeah, I think we're winning, right?
We could have an average of 40 a day for a while and be fine.
I think so. That's got to be less than I wonder what the birth rate in Utah is. It's got to be way higher than that.
Yeah.
A day?
Yeah.
Yeah, you breeders are freaking a lot.
I don't know. Maybe not. In a given hospital, how many hospitals is there? in
American
Utah?
Fork Hospital is like, I thought it was like 2,500 births a year or something.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
Something crazy.
You know, the BYU housing where the married couples live, they have apartments they can rent. It's specifically for married couples. They call that the rabbit cages.
Oh.
That sounds exactly right.
And I'll bet you there's as many births in just those rabbit cages than deaths that we just had. Just saying, we're still
in
winning.
Utah,
That's all.
There's 45,724 birds in 2020.
Wow. So we'd have a long way to go to equal that out with COVID,
Well,
even to break
That's
even.
125 a day. So we need a lot of COVID. Like
Yeah.
we need to lift this mask mandate. We need a bunch of people to die.
We need
Yeah.
more concerts, right?
Yeah, more
Family
more
gatherings.
Astro World concerts where
Yeah.
people die being crushed to death.
and of COVID, every cause we can possibly figure out.
Spreading to national COVID. The Supreme Court yesterday just heard arguments to either strike down or uphold Biden's vaccine mandate for employers with 100 or more employees. So I didn't listen to as much as I would have liked to even talk about it, but
How much would you like to have listened
all
to
of
him?
it. I really love Supreme Court.
You're worried about your company having to do it?
No, I just like I'm just fascinated with like Supreme Court stuff, like how
All
they
things
make
court,
arguments.
All things court,
Yeah.
Phil, we can bet just
like
loves.
like as a kid, you think like, oh, if people are making arguments at the Supreme Court, it's probably so complex and everything. But like everything's delivered so simply, and the questions are so like a 10-year-old could almost understand. Like it's really interesting how that works.
How do you talk to a 90-year-old person? Slow, right to the point. Like they don't have time to dilly-dally. It's like, figure this out now because I'm going to die.
It's true. It really is true. And what experience I've had, like family lawsuits and things, like being in court when talking to lawyers, they're like, listen, we want to make this so clear and concise so the judge like just can't misunderstand. And you're thinking like, well, aren't they a smart person? Can't they? But apparently like you really do have to like make things so clear and easy because I mean, you put yourself in that situation. Like this judge has, I don't know, 30 cases on their desk, hundreds and thousands of pages, each of them. Like they don't read through all that stuff. They got to come in and hear the argument and like, you know, doesn't matter how smart they are. It's a lot of information.
I know Phil loves the judicial system because his second favorite Christmas present was the Supreme Court Justice action figures that you got that are hanging up.
Supreme Court Lego figures.
The minifigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
Exactly.
Those were great, Phil. I like those.
So we'll see what happens. If it is upheld, people will
Lose their mind.
lose their mind, I guess, lose
Yeah.
their jobs. So we'll have more unemployment in a time.
Well, I mean, it depends on how the business deals with that, whether they decide to pay for the test or not.
Well, and one thing I hadn't realized, one thing I did pick up on was it's I think it was supposed to go into effect today, but what went into effect was only that they have to start testing, and it wasn't actually till February where they had to be vaccinated or not. But I think ultimately they can still not be vaccinated but have to get tested weekly and wear a
tests.
mask. I don't see a big deal with that. Other than I do understand the argument, like we don't want the government telling us what to do healthcare wise, like period.
Yeah.
That's it. And it actually, I think, is the same as the abortion argument. Like I don't want the government telling me as a woman, if I were a woman, what I can do
You can
with my
be, though.
body.
You can be a woman.
So
Go
it's
ahead.
so it's actually really interesting where the Democrats argue a woman should have control over her body, and it seems like more Republicans are arguing,
The government should have control over my body.
yeah, or shouldn't. So it's
Yeah.
like either they both are right or they're both wrong. So we'll find out here, I guess, because the Supreme Court actually has both of those cases on their desk. They have the abortion case and the vaccines now, and it'd be interesting. Be weird, I think, if one went one way and one went the other, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting the timing, though. They're both at the same time.
Yeah. So anyway, Joe Biden has kicked the year off with a grand show of unity,
Oh my God.
right, Jeff?
No.
Oh, he didn't?
He pissed me off so bad. Did you hear the speech about what was he talking about?
How 2020 is going to be such a good year.
No. What was it? I text you guys.
Well,
so
that's
I was
why
so
I asked you,
irritated.
because you texted me that you were irritated.
Yeah, I get over things pretty quickly, but
Oh.
I was so
It's
mad.
about building bridges and asking for
it-
permission or something.
God, what was it about?
Oh, I guess
I don't
it
think
wasn't-
he
right
knows what
back
it.
to
He
me.
probably doesn't know what it was about.
That's
so
true.
I don't.
Oh, okay, I remember. It was the
wasn't it
January
January
6th.
6th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gave a speech on January 6th and to commemorate the storming of the Capitol and blah blah blah. And it was just a big fat, in my opinion, shit on Trump fest.
Oh, was it?
Well, Kamala came up and spoke, and it was whatever. It was fine. You know, I think it's kind of funny that they're commemorating and putting so much attention on this day. It's like they want it to be some massive. Anyways, Biden sat there and was listing out stuff that Trump did as though it were fact, and he flat out said there are truths and there are and there are lies, and I'm going to tell you the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. And he starts listing all these things out. You guys should go watch it if you haven't seen it. And he basically just listed out how Donald Trump did A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and it's a fact. And I'll tell you right now, if it's a fact, Trump would be in prison. Like, if he actually did all those things, Trump would be in prison, or, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's just so amazing. It's like if I sat here and just said, Jake murdered his family. That is a fact. And then Jake just keeps showing up on the podcast every week and talking. It's like, okay, well,
And I'm
maybe it's
not in
not
prison?
a fact. Yeah. I don't know. It just, the thing that mainly upset me was not him attacking Trump or anything like that. It's just, to me, the communication from him and the message from him was so divisive. And Trent's actually said this before, and it made a lot of sense to me. It's like, if he loses and he's not doing well, we all aren't doing well. Whether you support him or not doesn't matter. Like, he's our president. And that's what kind of irritated me, is I'm like, he's not trying to unite people. He's like actually drawing the wedge in further with people.
Are you going to be okay?
I don't think so.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't see it. I'm still weirded out why everyone is calling this an insurrection. Like everyone, the insurrection, and they're just saying that as like a matter
It's
of
a
fact.
fact, yeah.
NPR, like, the insurrection, blah blah blah. So insurrection, I found out, is actually a real thing, like murder. It's like in the code of laws. Like people get charged with insurrection, and there's specific penalties. Of all the hundreds of people who are arrested and charged in this case, not a single one has insurrection as part of the charge. Trespassing on public property, disrupting a public thing. I don't.
Yeah, but the meaning of insurrection is a violent uprising against authority or government. It sounds like it's exactly that.
But there's definition. What he's saying is there's a definition of legally what entails insurrection.
All these people
I'm not
talking about aren't
disagreeing.
in
Well,
court.
but in most circumstances, that violent uprising is quelled by a military force.
That's not what it says the meaning of insurrection is.
What?
The Google
definition?
machine.
Oh, great. Phil's going to try and Google now.
Oh boy.
I am going.
He's just Googling erection.
Duck went.
In the erection.
I actually I just misspelled the password to my computer, so it's going to take me a minute.
It just says.
No, I
The
think you're
password
right.
insurrection.
I think you're right.
Oh, I don't even have internet.
So it's the difference.
Why do you even care that they're calling it an insurrection? Like, that's the right meaning, use of the word.
I don't think it is. That's what I'm saying. I think.
I think based on the meaning of the word, it is.
So here's let me try and explain. So you state murder, right? It's one person kills another person, murder, right? But then the courts have to define that further because the truth is you can kill somebody else for different reasons and different
You can
ways.
still like kill someone, murder someone, and not be like guilty of necessarily murder.
That's the point.
So
Yeah,
doesn't
but
it?
it still could be called murder.
It could be, yeah.
So when you say it was a violent uprising, like what were people doing? What was the goal?
It
Stop
doesn't matter.
steal.
It doesn't matter what the goal was. Was it a violent uprising?
Just to get into the
So,
White House.
I
Or
think
the
it does.
Capitol building.
I think if a violent uprising to like do something against the government, this seemed like a crowd that got out of control. Like
You think a crowd got out of control is what that would be defined as?
yeah, for sure. Like
I would say that
what was the goal?
Oh, well, the goal was to stop
yes.
the whole.
they tell you the goal was to go
finalization.
steal that little box so they could be in charge
They were going to steal the box.
of
that's-
election, whatever.
That's
of
what.
votes.
That's what in my opinion, that's what the narrative is. The truth is, most of those guys walked into that place and they just were kind of like thumbing around.
Most
like,
of the people
But-
didn't know what they were doing. They were just
Exactly.
walking through. There was
That's
there was
what I
a
mean.
It's because the police were like, yeah, go ahead and go in.
They walked in and they were doing
Broke
stupid
some
stuff.
windows.
So
and
if they'd
vandalized.
gone,
So
but
it-
if they'd gone in and stolen the box, what would that have done? Would the
It wouldn't have
government-
done anything.
Exactly.
We never said the people were smart. We said they were a bunch of Republicans.
I'm just saying an insurrection would entail somebody actually trying
You
to.
fucking stupid.
I'm just saying an insurrection would actually entail someone trying to do something like
And if it was
meaningful in some. Whether,
No, that's not what it just says. Charting a uprising against the government.
They
a violent
legit
uprising.
have flags says hashtag stop the
Why-
still, Phil. They
Yes.
actually do have a goal. There are certain
People were being interviewed on the way in.
There are
and they were saying
certain
that's what they wanted.
people who had the goal. The entire crowd was not on the same page.
So why
Some peop-
have
know.
there been any people that have been
tried?
tried for insurrection? If it's
no, that's what I'm saying. Not a single one had insurrection on their.
Because there's two.
Right.
There's okay. So there's the word insurrection, but then there's also the legal term insurrection.
So according to Merriam-Webster, usually a
Never heard
violent
of her.
attempt to take control of a government.
And what were they trying to do that day? Not all of them, but a good chunk of them.
Take control of the government?
If you go and ask those people, they were so intelligent
That's
that they thought that they could go in there and steal that box and then they would be in charge. There's people that had quotes that day saying, like, if we have this, I am now the right voting party or whatever. Not the whole group, just the smart ones in the group.
So let's look at it
which was
this
most
way.
of them.
Yeah.
Or most really
super smart people who did that.
So the guy.
Let's look at it this way. If there's a group of people who are really unintelligent
Okay.
and they go in with like party, those party things that shoot confetti
Yeah.
and like birthday hats
Confetti cannon.
into a bank. And they're like, we're going to rob this bank.
Then yes, if you walk into a bank and say, I'm going to rob the bank,
Yeah.
you have now robbed a bank.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't think so.
You don't have to
You
walk
do.
in with anything. You can just slip them. I mean, I can't tell you how
You can
many
walk in
times.
and say, I'm robbing this bank right now.
And you will
You've
be
now
tried.
robbed the bank.
I think that person could make a pretty good case that I was just joking. Like I
No,
don't-
for the same reason why literally in public you can't scream fire because I was just joking.
Yeah.
or mention
I
anything
think we should
about
take
a
you to
bomb
the
in an
bank on the
airport.
podcast next time and have you say, I'm here to rob the bank on this podcast.
Just kidding.
Let's do it.
I 100% don't support this
Will
because
you-
now we're guilty
Let's go right
just
now.
for planning it.
Wait, Trent, will you drive?
Yeah. I will sit in the parking lot with the car on in drive, ready to go.
He'll be the getaway guy.
And I will. What? Is that a thing? I will take no part.
Phil,
in
if
it.
we all go to a party and we're all downtown at a party and you kill somebody, did everyone at the party kill someone?
No. Is the
Well,
answer, Phil.
so I'm really glad actually that you brought that up
Because I'm right.
I killed somebody.
So
at a
don't
party.
change the thing. Did everyone kill someone?
no.
So apparently yes, because in that case that
Apparently, yes.
what's that guy's case? The Ahmaud Arbery killing.
Ahmaud
So
Arbery.
so two of those people that were there did not have a gun or pull the trigger, but they were both charged with
But
the
did they-
same
Did they have
crime.
knowledge of it, or did they help him cover
or
it up?
facilitate.
No, they were there with him. So they chased this guy with him.
Yes.
The
So
one guy pulls the gun and shoots him.
Right.
But they charged the other two with murder.
With
as well.
murder or accessory?
we just
Murder.
talked about that. That's why the reason why we can't say let's go rob a bank, and you say let's go do it, and we don't do anything about it. We're just as guilty.
But if you go sit in the car,
Yes, you are just as
We're-
guilty.
that's what I'm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as we all go to a party downtown, you murder someone, and we're all guilty. You should go to the Capitol and storm it now, you fucking...
Me?
You, not... Will you edit that out?
Watch your words.
Click.
Yeah, click.
No, I don't think it was an insurrection.
There were plenty of people there who were doing exactly that.
I don't think so. None of them were even armed with a gun
Oh, but they
Do
got
you have to be
flags.
armed to be violent?
to take down the United States government.
No,
I would say
come
so.
On, come on, Phil. You don't have to have anything.
To take down the government of the United
Yeah,
States.
you just have to have
To
this
do
box.
it doesn't say taking down. It says a violent uprising against a government or authority.
It doesn't have to be
Quit
effective.
changing the word to be what you want it to be.
I don't think so. I think insurrection
Okay,
is the wrong
so
word.
so if three foreign, Taliban people came over and in charge of Capitol and broke in and stuff, is that an insurrection?
If
Or is that a
group of 1,000 Taliban
1,000? Why 1,000?
were protesting,
Uh-huh.
and then it got out of hand. They started breaking windows and trying to get in there. I would say that it was a protest that got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that was
A
terrorism.
protest. They didn't just break windows, Phil.
They broke windows and tried to enter the building.
They didn't try to enter a building.
They were let
They
in.
were let in a lot of cases.
You're saying what they did when you watch the videos of that, it was just a little protest got kind of out of hand.
Well, yeah, a lot of protests get out of hand. Fight with cops. People get beat.
That one kind of got out. The other ones got out of hand too.
Yeah.
This one didn't. Like, you're really downplaying it.
So when they took over, was it Seattle?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
that
the
little city, whatever.
Yeah. Was
Chop.
that an insurrection?
Yeah.
Thought it was Portland.
I mean, and
I don't think that word has been used.
I don't think that was a violent. Like,
it's not uprising against the government, though.
I mean, they quarantined a section of city for like months, didn't
Yeah,
they?
but that
They
was
just kinda-
just Starbucks
yeah,
and
they-
JCPenney.
their goal wasn't to like go against the government or whatever.
There is a difference, Phil. If you uprise against Target versus the nation's capital, like I'm thinking there's a difference there.
well,
Target's pretty cool.
Well, it wasn't Target, and it was a lot of government buildings. So same thing in Utah. They were coming after wasn't it the Capitol or the state courthouse?
it was
or
in front of the library.
Well, and they went up to the Capitol. They went up to the Capitol too, and
Yeah, they did.
painted on the.
No, that was the parade.
So I actually just went to a. I can't. It was a major state building because I just went to a coronation of a new highway patrolman, and they were talking about that in there because everyone in the room was.
Yeah, all the
actually
highway
there.
patrolmen were on
It
the
was
steps of the Capitol.
It was the Capitol. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because they
they
went
didn't-
from the library and marched up to, but that was like the BLM marches and stuff like
But
that.
the
Yeah.
difference was in Utah, they had 2 rows deep of highway patrolmen surrounding the building, armed and ready to freaking take them. Like, they were not fucking around. The next day, there were people cleaning up, like, spray painted stuff all over on the grounds and, like, trashed and all that stuff. But as far as getting into the building, hell no, that was not ever going to happen.
Well, they told them, you guys are here to have your protest. You should have
Do
your
it.
protest. There's no problem with that. You've already like spray painted the other thing, whatever. We're not prosecuting or going after you, but
You're
you're just not entering the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Step foot over here.
I wouldn't call that an insurrection either.
But-
If they went and started like trying to go after the cops and saying they want to go find people, let's get them, and they break into the building to go find them,
It's crazy.
yeah.
I'm going to throw this one out there, okay? Because I think what we're dealing with here is that there is definitely a mob. I think for certain people, there was definitely a protest that got out of hand. And I bet you that number of people was more than the people that actually had the intention of going in and destroying things and stopping the steal and blah, blah, blah. One thing that we do know is that there were people on that day that have been prosecuted for their actions.
Right.
One of them's from Utah, if you recall.
There's actually like 11 from Utah.
Right.
Something like that.
And they have openly admitted that they were also part of other riots and other uprisings to create problems. I can't remember the guy's name, but he went to jail in Tooele because I think that's where he was living. But I think that there is definitely a mixture. But the thing that I do not agree with is that everyone there had a role to play to cause an insurrection. I don't think that that's true, from Donald Trump to the people in the crowd, because I knew people that were actually there. If you guys recall, I think I was texting you guys that same day. I had someone that was in D.C. that was giving me updates of what was happening, and her feedback was, we went to the Capitol, and there's so many idiots here. We're gone. And they left, and they said tons of people left the Capitol because there's too many stupid people that were there.
Right.
So I think there's a combination. But the thing that irritates me is that in hindsight, it seems like they're doing these broadcasts and giving this information and stating things as fact, even though they're not necessarily fact. It's the way that they want it to be portrayed. They want it to be that that Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government that day is like the message that Biden's giving. And it's like, this is ridiculous.
I think that his statements, when you have people like that are that crazy, certainly helped people get more out of hand.
Right.
Telling them to go up there and go do it. I mean, not go do that, but you would think
March
a
to the
good
Capitol
president, right? You think a good president, as soon as you find out those people had entered the building, would have made a statement to say, "Hey, stop! This is stupid. Don't do it."
Mm-hmm.
He did not.
Yeah.
90 minutes later, he did.
No, he didn't.
He did 90 minutes after it became
He
a big
did.
deal.
He said,
But
"Get
he
He
out."
said,
his-
everyone go home.
So
his
90 minutes is what it took him to realize
that's
this is
the
a bad
criticism.
idea.
That's the criticism is he
of
waited
he
too
waited
long.
too long.
Certainly waited too long.
So
9 minutes, I could have been like, okay, 9 minutes, he's gathering information.
Yeah, I'm not,
90,
I'm not
he's
saying,
hauling his fat ass somewhere.
I was just clarifying. You said he didn't. I said he did 90 minutes later, and the 90 minutes gap.
Why are you
is
such
the
a supporter of
confusion.
Trump, Jake? Why don't you defend yourself?
Because
So anyway, I'm not saying I think all those people are idiots and what they did was stupid. I if you'll recall me when we were texting about this as it was happening, I said people who were breaking into the Capitol should be shot.
And one did.
Yeah. So I'm not defending these people. I just think insurrection is the wrong word.
So they use a different word. What does it change it?
Well,
Silly-
I think words are important.
I think definition of words are certainly important.
They're,
You don't.
They're written in our legal code. If it was an insurrection, people would have been charged with insurrection. Nobody's been charged with that.
They've probably been charged with more than just that.
No, just pretty much the majority of them. Like a couple of them assaulted police officers. The overwhelming majority, it's being on public property when you're not supposed to.
That might just be an easier thing to
disrupting
prove
a public event
than the
Right.
other.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's why they're being charged with that. If it were easy to prove that it was an insurrection, they would have. Who do they charge? Who organized it? What was the plan? I don't think.
You don't have to be the organizer to be a guilty party.
Yeah, that's true. But what were you doing? What?
Well, a lot of cases they have video proof of what they were doing.
The U.S. government isn't overthrown, so that crime it's only an attempted crime. And if it was attempted, what was it?
You don't have to.
Attempted
You don't have to
insurrection.
follow through with a crime to have tried the crime.
You don't like it? Next.
I thought it had to be majority thumbs down to carry on with our conversations, but no, I think you guys are both right in your different ways, and I think that you're right. No one was charged with insurrection. Fine. Does that mean there wasn't insurrection? Not necessarily, but we're also not that connected. The main thing that I brought it up, and you guys are pissing me off more than Joe Biden now, but
We're doing it more than Joe Biden.
I'm teasing.
Wow. He hates us.
We need a joke sign in here that says I can turn it on when I was just teasing.
No, you got to make it sound like a joke.
Oh, huh.
There it was.
You guys are pissing me off more than Joe Biden. Okay. No, but
Hurry up. Say the stupid thing you were going to say.
I'm going to hide my face behind the pop filter so you guys can't even make eye contact. I'm scared. No, it's just, I do not like well, and here you go. There's evidence of it right here. It was like driving a wedge between people even further. Like, why bring that up? Why not just be like, this is America. We're doing great. Let's go forward. Let's plan ahead. Instead, it's like, got to go back and
The difference is you should
Well,
be
you
able to
can't
go
say we're doing
talk
great
about
because
it.
we're not.
And Phil and I are going to still leave here totally fine.
I don't think
I'll
so. I think
know
you guys
that
are getting
he's
a
stupid.
divorce. You guys are getting a friend divorce, huh?
Jeff's like,
I'm
"Dad,
moving in with Devin."
Mom, Dad,
Mommy,
stop,
Daddy, quit fighting.
stop fighting. No, we're fine.
Okay,
Everyone
fine.
hates everyone.
I hate you guys.
Betty White died.
Oh, shit. See?
Yep.
This is real downer, Phil. This episode's called...
And we were having a
It's
lot
Real
of fun
Downer.
fighting.
Yeah, I went to a movie. I think it was shortly after she died, and she popped on the screen and was like, "Come to my 100th birthday next week." Blah blah blah.
Did she make it to 100?
No, 17 days shy.
Yeah.
17 days before. So
They were planning a huge birthday party for her.
yeah, it was like a big celebration. Well, they must still be doing it. I
They're
guess.
probably going
I
to
don't
do
know.
Yeah.
turn it into a memorabilia thing.
Because
It's
they're
their
still gonna do
birthday.
it.
I mean,
The
it's still their birthday.
deposits were
Right.
non-refundable.
Yeah, they can't go back.
Fireworks, the whole shebang.
Too many celebrities scheduled. Can't change it.
Another significant celebrity, Sidney Poitier, just,
sounds
just
significant.
died at 94. He was the first black or African American to receive an Oscar for Best Actor.
In what movie?
One of those movies that
Django Unchained.
we weren't born yet.
Django Unchained.
So the only movie I've seen, he's been retired for quite a while.
Yes?
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Beep.
Click.
Click.
So he's been retired for quite a while.
Has he been retired or they stopped calling? That's entirely different.
Yeah, but the only movie I've seen him in is Sneakers. Did you guys ever see that?
Oh,
movie?
I do remember that movie.
It's like early '90s, like Hackers,
Yeah.
Robert Redford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in that one. That's the only one I could find that I'd seen.
That
him
you
in,
knew.
but Yeah,
94 years old.
yeah.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Someone died we don't know. Okay.
So you remember the story a while back where that guy paid that employee with pennies by dumping them in his driveway?
No.
Oh, there were, like, I think it was this last year. So some employee complained he didn't get his last paycheck, called the Department of Labor or whatever, and filed a complaint. And so this employer loaded up a wheelbarrow full of like $900 worth of pennies. It was an entire wheelbarrow
Love
full,
it.
and poured it on his driveway. Now, I guess the government is now suing him, and the only gripe is that he coated all the pennies with oil to make them difficult to pick up. Apparently, it
Okay,
was,
time out. What kind of oil?
I'm not sure what kind.
Coconut?
But I was laughing at that because in his mind he's like, oh yeah, this is totally illegal. I'm like, he's gonna get in trouble for that. But apparently he's not. Like, he's only getting in trouble because he coated the pennies with oil. So if you do get angry at someone and you owe them some money, you can still pay them in pennies.
I don't
You can pay
understand-
them in money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a
it's
thing.
money.
I don't understand why he'd get in trouble for coating it in oil, though.
Was it like, did he vandalize his driveway or something?
Yeah.
They probably couldn't charge him with insurrection, so they could only do coding it with.
Well, like, you could pay someone with pennies, but you probably couldn't dump them on their head off a second-story building, right?
That is not even close to the same thing.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's obviously ways you can pay people.
So if I
so
owe someone $1 million and I put $1 million in a Brinks truck and run it into your car going down the road, you saying I didn't pay you?
Wait a minute.
You sound like an idiot.
So anyway, he's
I
going
love
to court.
all of this. You won the lottery. We're going to drive a pickup truck full of gold bars through your front living room.
We tied $1 million to this nuclear bomb that we're going to drop a mile above your house and explode.
You ever thought about like, imagine a whole room full of pennies or gold coins like Scrooge McDuck,
Yeah.
and diving off a diving board into
can't.
that,
It would
you would
hurt
just
so
die.
bad.
There's no.
I love that as a little
fluidity
kid, though,
there.
you were like, that'd be fun. I want to
Yeah,
swim
I
in
want to
money.
swim in money.
But you do know that was a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it would just essentially be a solid.
Thought it was a
surface.
But you
ducks,
also know it has talking ducks in it.
I thought it was a documentary.
Yeah, that wears shirts but no pants.
A documentary. Get it?
Dad joke day. See ya. I'll be here all week.
Lick.
So Alexa told a 10-year-old girl to touch a live outlet with a penny for fun.
What?
Did she ask if she should? What? It just
She said,
got
"Alexa,
on?
what's something fun to do?" And Alexa said, pull a plug out halfway out of the outlet and touch a penny to it." And that's because Alexa apparently Googled what was fun to do and found some group of kids doing the penny challenge or something like that.
Okay.
penny
I think this
challenge.
kid had asked Alexa
Is that a-
like 50 times already, and it's like,
So
fine,
here-
go put a penny in the plug.
Yeah. Build a mask with a plastic bag because I'm sick of hearing your
Yeah,
voice.
there's now a mask mandate. Put that hefty bag over your head.
Target's a little thicker. Put the Target bag on your head. Listen, we
They are
didn't need
thicker.
Alexa to tell us. Do you guys remember this was a big
Yeah.
problem when we were in junior high. The gum wrappers.
We destroyed every plug.
outlet. Yeah. I remember vending
Oh, really?
machines.
You would take a gum wrapper, make it look like a plug, and plug
No,
it
you
in.
barely put it in, and then you'd kick it with your foot to shove it in the rest of the way, and it would just arc across and it'd spark up, and
Explode and
Yeah.
start a fire.
it got to be such a problem that they just shut all the vending machines down because it was like ruining the plugs the vending machines were plugged into.
You
And
guys did that in school?
No.
I did not, but I witnessed it more than once.
Trent didn't. Okay.
Trent didn't do it either.
didn't
Wait,
do
what's
it.
the statute of limitations again?
I don't know,
I'm
so I
just
didn't
kidding.
do it.
Putting gum wrappers in outlets?
I'm in Utah County right
Like
now.
50
I don't
minutes.
Yeah. No, I never did it. It's like pulling the
I
fire
remember that
alarm.
being a thing, but I didn't. Like, I never tried it because I knew I wasn't stupid.
I was pissed off because they started trying to get rid of gum over that.
I'm so pro that. I probably started right when they said that.
Trent hates guns.
Yes.
Still doesn't like gum.
Yep. I don't have Alexa though, so I didn't care. But you guys, I think.
You do.
I do.
What's in front of you right there?
Hey Siri. See,
That's
don't
Siri.
use it.
What's in front of him right? Oh, I was going to say his iPhone 4 is in front
And a
of him.
half.
It's SE.
Oh, it's
Jake.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's only
throwback.
6 years old now. I don't know. I can't understand why you guys want like those huge dictionary-size phones.
You have one in front of you
This one?
to avoid buying what you have.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't carry that around with me.
How many of us are buying iPads just to play Clash of Clans?
Me. That's what you got to do with 2 accounts. I don't know why Clash of Clans wouldn't just make it so you can play multiple accounts on one device, but
Do you have your whole clan as just you?
Yeah.
That is the saddest thing ever. They're trying to get you to connect.
pretty much.
Okay.
So, Elizabeth Holmes. Have you guys heard of this girl?
Who dat?
Yeah.
Who dat?
So
Hoochie mama.
she's the girl that started this company, Theranos.
Thanos. Oh.
No, Theranos.
So
Oh, okay.
I had first heard of her. This is actually before like I went on a mission. I was like 18, 19, and it was in the news. Oh, 19-year-old girl starts $1 billion company. And I remember feeling really like inadequate, like, wow, I've wasted my life because this girl is already
I'm
like,
just trying to go save souls. Look at me.
Exactly. And well, it turns out, long story short, this whole company was a fraud. She developed apparently a way to test blood that was supposed to be cheaper and more efficient and blah, blah, blah. Turns out that it didn't work. And not only did it not work, and she told people it didn't work, but when they would like test it, or the government agencies or whoever would come to verify things, they'd like take a blood sample and like sneak it into the back room and use a real test and like sneak it back and forward and be like, look, our test worked. So her whole company, she went from, I believe she was worth about $5 billion, and the next day she was worth nothing.
Phil, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is her whole company on trial for this?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
They're not all on trial?
I think
So only she's in.
Oh, no, I
Even
think-
though did she run the test back somewhere else and try and
the
hide
whole
it? All of
company
it?
the whole company's actually dissolved.
Oh, so she
All the employees.
all
as
the
well.
employees were
Yeah.
in, and not all of them
All the
got
employees
tried
are
to.
charged.
So no, not all the employees are charged with a crime.
So this is a different insurrection.
This is just a insurrection.
Yeah. Okay. So I had to clarify if she did the crime or if everyone did it. I just wanted to clarify that.
See what he's doing.
No,
See what he's doing there.
I don't.
I don't. Yeah, that's exactly what.
Why you guys are still friends?
But
We literally forget about everything that happened more than 5 minutes ago. So
wait, what are you talking about?
where am I?
But she's in big trouble. She's I guess she was just convicted of
So is
fraud
this
and bunch
is
of
this a
stuff.
personal story? Like you felt inadequate because of this woman. Now she's
No,
been destroyed.
I felt a little bit vindicated because I was like, oh, a 19-year-old is a billionaire already. But they weren't really. They just cheated.
and then you're like,
No, they
oh,
were a
my-
billionaire.
Oh, yeah,
that's
I get
true.
that.
She lived a great life
But
for
it
a
was
while.
kind of the equivalent of like robbing a bank. Like she did it in a
Okay.
I would say this is the equivalent of a church.
Okay.
A church is saying, "Hey, no, you're going to be fine. We're going to go take these tests and put them back behind the thing where you can't know. Just keep investing. You're going to be just fine."
And then they lose it all.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Then I'll feel vindicated.
That's
As
gonna be
soon as the prophet's in jail, I'll feel so vindicated.
It's like McDonald's. Someone coming in and ordering a Whopper from McDonald's, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll go get you one." And then
Whopper
he goes
from
back
McDonald's.
and then uses the Burger King equipment in the back to make one.
Yeah.
And then he comes out with a perfectly made Whopper that works,
Yeah, kind of like that.
just exactly like it.
I really want a Whopper now.
Yeah. But so the thing that was interesting about this story is this is 20 years later. How many government agencies were clearing this thing, all these other companies and investors that looked
Right.
into it. Like it sometimes these things like, yeah, they're throwing her I'm not saying they're throwing her under the bus. She's obviously the one that did the fraud, but they're going after her really hard, and I feel like it's more because it's like this is kind of our fault too. Like if you make something that like other smart people are going to look at and verify and say, yeah, that's good, and they do, isn't it a little bit their fault too?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think the government is. I don't think they're going after her on like a government level. Isn't it like a civil lawsuit?
no, she's charged with fraud. She just got convicted.
Yeah, yeah, but with fraud, yes. But it's. I'm trying to think of
No,
the right way to say this.
when I
like-
say charged, I mean it's a criminal
yeah,
case.
yeah, but it's like the fraud of the money and like all that sort of stuff, like frauding out investors.
Yeah.
Not like the government is not on the hook for this.
No, they're not. But I'm saying like Medicaid paid for this thing for however many years. Like they obviously went and said, "Oh yeah, this is legit. We're gonna do it."
Well, I get what you're saying. It's that they bought into it, and so they feel duped, and then therefore it's even worse now. Like they're gonna push it even further because it's like we were kind of dumb. We didn't cross check everything or whatever, so we're gonna extra get after you because we look like idiots now.
Yeah.
They should make a point out of her though. Like they should make an example out of her and make it harsh.
No, I agree. But like, so my wife and I years ago, we were stupid. We tried to buy airline miles over Craigslist and wired someone money through like MoneyGram.
I remember this actually.
And,
I remember.
I remember thinking
We
you
had
were
discussions.
stupid.
and
about it.
obviously lost our money. And right after, like right after, I was like, oh, this person, I'm so mad at them. But very shortly after, I came to realize like this is not this person's fault. Like I just gave that person
I'm an idiot.
money, right?
Right.
And so even though this girl was bad and did something wrong, I have a hard time putting the blame on her because I can easily blame myself being the one that like would do that. So we've got tons of like government agencies and companies, and like I said,
Phil's
a lot of people-
attitude is changing because of extreme ownership.
exactly
I see what
because
you're
of that
saying.
book I listened to.
Jocko Willink.
Yeah,
You should stop listening to that book. I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds crazy.
I actually did stop.
It's extreme ownership. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not this girl's fault, but everyone involved. It's their fault too.
So extreme ownership, Jocko Willink or whatever, the Navy
So
SEAL.
how does this tie into an insurrection? This extreme ownership.
So
Who's owning what?
Why didn't you stop
I'm
it?
noticing a
So-
trend here.
Yeah.
So in extreme ownership, Donald Trump should have said, "I did this insurrection. It was my bad."
So should every single person that was there.
Yeah, and all of us Americans actually.
Yeah.
So is that the reason you stopped listening to it, because it like hurt your argument? Did you just stop listening to it in the last 20 minutes?
I actually hadn't thought about the insurrection once while I was listening to it.
So we, as a podcast, on behalf of the entire city of American Fork, we, the four of us, would like to apologize for the January 6th
Yes.
Yeah.
insurrection
We're
in
sorry.
which we had responsibility.
It's true because we had like
What?
We're taking ownership.
Extreme ownership.
We would not like to do that.
Yes,
Jacob would like to do that.
I'm taking ownership for
I
everyone.
think Jake's just upset he wasn't there to support his boy. He's like, I want to support this because I would have really shot someone too.
With my 380.
onto other
308.
6 rounds.
onto other female criminals. Ghislaine Maxwell
Ghislaine.
was convicted of sex trafficking, something like that. I don't know the actual charge,
Insurrection.
but
Five
is
of
probably
6.
very likely to get overturned now because it came out that one of the jurors was a victim of sexual abuse and declared openly that he spent a lot of time convincing the other jurors to convict because he was a
Oh,
victim of
really?
sexual abuse, which is a big problem because when you go into these type of cases, the judge asks you, have you ever been sexually abused or know someone who has been like they ask you if you have anything to if you have skin in the game of
Right.
of the crime, like and so they would have lied, which is perjury, which would be a mistrial for the whole thing. So she might get a redo now.
A redo.
So you, as a juror, they won't let you on the jury if you have been victimized for any crime that's related to the crime.
Not necessarily. So you can be let on, but so like when I went on a jury, they asked me if anyone I knew was a police officer. I said, yeah, my dad. And they said, well, your dad having been a police officer, do you think you would be biased toward the testimony of a police officer? I said, no, not necessarily. But if I had lied and said, no,
Yeah.
I don't know a police officer,
yeah, that's a problem.
that's a big
So,
problem.
so this juror did lie
They
and
li-
was actually asked, "Have you been a victim of sexual abuse?"
That's what they're claiming, yeah. Because they would have asked everybody that because they don't want people in there that are biased, and it's
Sure.
not necessarily that. Like I said, they could have been a victim of sexual abuse, but then they would have asked them, "Do you think that would cloud your judgment in this? Would you be able to be impartial?" And if a person says, "No way, I hate sex abusers,"
They would have chosen a
yeah,
different
they would
juror.
have got someone else. So that's a big problem. So anyway.
5 out of 6 accounts there were 5 charges against 6 charges against her, and she was charged as guilty on
Yeah.
5 of them.
Right. And
Found guilty.
So what would they do in this situation? Would they just overturn it, or would they say, let's revisit this?
it
or
would be well, I don't know if mistrial is the right word after the trial's over. I think they would have, I don't know the exact legal terms, but essentially she'll get a new trial. They'll start all over. They'll
Yeah.
pick a new jury.
I don't know why they're going to go through this. She's going to be guilty.
You think so?
Stop wasting our time. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the deal with the black book? Like, was it like a compromise or something?
Did she
where
like
they-
share some book or something?
Well, she had a list of contacts that were associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and that book, I guess, was ordered sealed, so no one can see who's
Yeah,
in it.
because there's too many like predominant like
The judge is like,
politicians.
"Oh, I'm in there."
Right.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Like, what is the standing on that? Like, why is that even an issue?
We need Edward Snowden to come steal that thing.
Yeah, like I don't understand why. Was there a compromise or something? I don't know, but we're not allowed to see.
I think it's
the
on
contacts.
Hillary's emails.
I really think there's too many people
Yeah,
of
probably.
power that were involved with that. It will never come out. That book has been destroyed for sure.
You think so?
Yes.
And we've never really talked about this on the podcast, I don't think. But how did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself, or did he get killed?
He got murdered.
He got
You think
murdered.
so?
For
Hillary
sure.
Clinton herself did it.
Have you ever met someone that like
She
didn't think
sat
that?
on his face.
Sat on his face. Like, isn't everyone pretty much like, oh yeah, he was murdered?
Well, everyone in the media
I-
say he died, killed himself.
Oh, killed
I don't
himself,
think so.
right.
I don't think everyone in the media. Maybe like
No, I mean
mainstream.
the mainstream media say that he killed himself. But yeah, you're right. I haven't met anyone personally who's like, oh yeah, he totally offed himself.
Yeah, it's an interesting case because they deliberated for quite a while, like a whole week, and then convicted her. And that's with this guy in there that was obviously like trying to get a specific outcome, allegedly. I kind of go back and forth. I'm like, yeah, it looked like Jeffrey Epstein was sex trafficking people, but does that necessarily mean that she was too? Like,
based
I
on the
don't know.
testimony, for sure.
Based
if
on the
you're
testimony.
if you're going out and recruiting girls and bringing them in, knowing what's going to happen to them,
And that's the thing.
you're
If
citing
she-
an insurrection.
If she did know that it was an insurrection,
Try it.
then
It's okay.
An erection. You're citing an erection.
Wow.
it's kind of like the Michael Jackson thing. Like, you watch that Mike Neverland documentary or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, I believe these people. But at the same time, is there not motivation for people to go after an extremely rich?
Oh, I think the parents should be tried just like Michael Jackson should have.
Oh yeah,
Assuming he's at the party. They should have for sure gone after them
Yeah.
because they knew what they were doing, and they're like, "Yeah, let's."
It's Michael Jackson.
There's a possibility that they become like a star, and millions of dollars obviously washes away the pain of one weird digit inside of you, and you'll be fine.
yeah. I lost my train of thought there, but
will do that.
But for me, it's the same way. Like in Michael Jackson's case, it's you have this testimony. You have all the workers and everything that were like, yeah, I saw them there. In Ghislaine Maxwell's case, it's the same thing. It's testimony, but to my understanding, there's not like video evidence or anything. And in her case, I think there's also a motivation, at least, like to get some money. Like it's potentially possible for someone to lie or stretch the truth about specific things because Epstein's dead. This girl's still alive. She's got a lot of money. Plus, if I convict against her, now I can sue Epstein's estate and say, I've won this. I'm not saying that's how it went down. It's not as like, and I wasn't on the jury either, but to me, it's not a clear-cut case like,
So do you think that this one juror who was a victim of sexual crime had a lot to do with the findings?
Well,
for
I
being
don't know,
guilty?
but I'm saying that's what their argument is now. So they're going back to the court and say you got to throw this whole thing out because this juror was
it was a biased jury.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And-
wait a second. You're saying that someone lost a trial and then they're trying to figure out any reason to overturn it?
Right.
This
Well,
is unbelievable.
but this
Find him some votes.
at least people are saying that this looks very likely because that's a big deal. Like
Yeah.
Well,
they made a big stink about it in I keep forgetting the name of the Derek Chauvin case where he got convicted and then it came out that one of the jurors had like worn a Black Lives Matter shirt at something or whatever, and they were saying, "Oh, that's
yeah.
bad," but that's not as clear cut as like, I run Black Lives Matter or something that's like I don't know.
Here's an interesting thing too, and I get it. The guys and I'm just barely getting this information from you. I honestly haven't been following it, but let's say okay, the guy's been sexually abused, and so he convinces the 12. Come on, he's still a part of a jury of his peers, of their peers. Guess what? There's people out there that are sexually abused. If he convinced 11 other people to change their vote, like. Come on. I don't think that's possible that one guy in a jury is going to go through and change all that. And this is just my opinion. I'm not speaking legally or anything. I'm just like,
Well,
whatever.
It seems unlikely.
I agree, and I'm not saying, and I would say they would even say that you can be on the jury if you've been sexually abused, but the problem is if you're a juror and because you've been sexually abused, you've decided that you're going to convict no
Yeah.
matter what. If you're on a sexual abuse case, you're going to convict.
Yeah, they'll
Like,
they'll ask you like when you're in the pre whatever for jury, like,
Yeah.
okay, so you were sexually assaulted. Can you still come in here with
Yeah.
an unbiased opinion?
right.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I agree. What I'm saying is that if it was, it's not up to that one guy. It wasn't a hung jury.
No, I get that, but it's possible that it was. Like,
So there's 11 people.
like
that,
they're definitely in my jury. They're like people step up as like ringleaders, I guess I'd say, that like
Yeah.
kind of guide the conversation and ask the questions. And
Yeah, I think it would be incredibly easy for the other jurors to come out and say, no, I'm convinced that she was guilty.
well, and the only thing I'm saying is it took them a long time to deliberate, like 40 hours or something like that.
yeah,
So-
but I guarantee it wasn't because 11 said innocent and 1 said guilty, and
Maybe.
then he convinced all of them.
I think it's supply chain issues. Like they just couldn't get the stuff in time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of the barges.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
the-
I've been
the
waiting on
coast,
stuff
just
inside
waiting.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
that's why they couldn't deliberate fast
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, it took them a long time.
The ports are just not running at full
They didn't have the
capacity.
right paper.
there's not
Yeah.
enough trucks out there in California to bring it across.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens there. Bill Gates will be next on the chopping block. I
Yeah, because he
guess.
was associated with it, right?
Not only was he associated, but his association with Epstein started after the allegations against Epstein,
He was like, hey.
Yeah.
What
Hey,
candy
let me
you got over
help
there?
you out.
which is why it looks so bad, and why when like Epstein gets arrested and then Ghislaine gets in trouble, now
gets a
Now
divorce?
he's getting divorced.
Yeah, I did read online that his wife like divorced him because of that.
Yeah, like
It was probably a total lie, but
well, that's the common assumption because they run the big charity and stuff, so she could keep doing that if they were split up. In theory, like you don't want everything to just crash down because he went and I was going to say something crass about sexual assault. but
When
I
did he
held my
leave
tongue.
Microsoft? In the timeline of that.
I think it's around that. I'm not sure.
when's his birthday?
Yeah, it's 5.
As soon as he
His
called,
birthday's 5.
he makes his first phone call to Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, "I'm leaving Microsoft." I'm just wondering if there's a correlation there.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, back to Ahmaud Arbery. So the father and son were sentenced to life without parole, and the other dude was sentenced to a lesser sentence. I hadn't read a lot about this story, but apparently this guy's jogging through the neighborhood, and they're like, "What's that guy doing here?" And they chase him down with a truck, shoot him 2 times point blank with a shotgun. Anyway.
Wasn't he carrying a television or something?
No, I think they had said
Or is that
they
a different
thought he was
case?
carrying a television.
Because there was a report of somebody in the neighborhood who had stolen something, and they ended up seeing him and he apparently matched the description, and so they went after him.
I think
I don't know
something like
anything
that.
about this story.
so. Ahmaud Arbery
This was
a black,
2 years ago.
Was a
Okay.
black teenager, young man, jogging through a neighborhood, went into a home under construction in the neighborhood and came out. And the neighbor people thought that he was, what they alleged, I believe, is what you said, like, oh, we saw him carrying a TV or something. But apparently there were a lot of cameras around. There was a camera in the home under construction, I guess, and cameras on the streets. No evidence that he was stealing anything or anything like that.
how many times did we go into a house under construction?
Way
Yeah.
too many
All the
times.
time.
A lot.
I still do it.
Like every day.
Literally.
I still do it too.
I do it.
Yeah, for a job. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I do it because I live in a house under construction. Every day I go into it.
but apparently this guy was like, "What's that guy doing?" Gets his son. They jump in the truck and drive this guy down, pretty much, with another guy that went with them with a camera, and that guy filmed it or something. And they got out, and I guess the guy tried to take the gun from him or something, and he shot him and killed him. Anyway,
Wow.
it's been a big deal.
So wait, he went in and got the camera, like a VHS
Yeah,
over the
brought that
shoulder
out.
camera. The other
Something-
guy's got a shotgun.
something
Seems like
that.
overkill.
Yeah, it seemed like overkill. When really what it could have been is like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I'm jogging. Oh, all right.
I told
See
you
you
guys, I
later.
learned a lot about myself. I have the arms of fire, and someone knocks on my door at 1 a.m. Apparently, my knee-jerk reaction is not to grab that. It's just to go out there and be like, "What the fuck do you want? What's
Yeah.
going on?"
When it's some meth head lady that's
Yeah, that's who was in
trying
my
to get
case.
into your
But
house.
it's weird.
Yeah, I was.
To me, it's weird to someone to go instantly just grab a gun. I don't know. Are you guys
Especially
different?
over a TV.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They. Yeah, I knew that they were alerted and looking for somebody.
Hold on,
Well,
hold on. You're saying that they went looking for some violence.
Trent, it's okay.
It was an insurrection.
Yay, they agree.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
I'll get rid of these divorce papers.
Yes.
so no, I think they'd seen him jogging and going into this house on several occasions. I should have stated.
Oh,
that.
really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that they were.
You know, mid jog, like sometimes you got to take a poop. Maybe that was his. Literally, I've done the jogs where you're like, I'm shitting this bush, and for some reason, every time
when you cross,
you
got
got to go to that bush.
Yeah.
I mean, I got off the bus every day to poop,
Yeah,
Oh my god.
but I still wanted to throw snowballs at cars.
yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't go home and throw snowballs at cars
yeah.
So you settled for throw snowballs, poop in a bush.
while pooping.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if the guy had broken, and this is going to be over the top, but if the guy had broken into your house and raped your daughter, and you chased him down and shot him with a shotgun, you'd probably still get murder.
Yeah. If the guy's fleeing and you kill them, yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So-
you need to have immediate bodily or immediate bodily harm.
Unless you can
basically.
prove he's charging at someone else.
Well, that's an immediate bodily harm.
and that's what they were
Yeah.
trying to say is like, oh, he was charging at me, and that's why I shot him.
yeah.
But they're saying, well, you chased him down though. Like,
You brought a
now
gun to
You're
it.
the instigator.
You brought a gun to a TV fight.
Right.
I agree because you shouldn't be pulling a gun on someone who isn't
Armed.
actively trying to like.
Not running away. Yeah, if they're running away, game over.
Right.
It's an interesting thing. I watch a lot of videos like this, and my conclusion is you don't ever point the gun at somebody unless you're going to kill them. Period. That's it. If you're pointing a gun at somebody to get them to stop doing something, wrong. That's wrong. You could pull it out, but never point it at the person. Like you can have a shoulder sling and a rifle on there and just have it. You can't get in trouble for that. But the second you point the gun at someone and say, "Hey, you need to stop that," or whatever, no, you're using the gun wrong.
Yeah.
The second you point it at the person, you better fully intend on killing them and have just cause for killing them.
Yeah.
So
I agree. So the James Webb Telescope, talked about it last
Yeah.
time, has opened half of its mirror, and the most difficult part, the sun shield, the like 6-layer
The
shield.
origami style
Yeah.
mirror. Yeah.
is it good? What's going on?
It's good so far. Yeah.
Okay.
And the origami style sun shield was what I was most worried about because when they were describing how it was going to come apart, the scientist guy was like, imagine putting a string on the table and then push on one end of that string and then trying to predict mathematically how that's going to coil
Oh, jeez.
when you push on it. I was like, oh, this sounds iffy, man. But
Sad thing is, they're smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah.
That's-
I know.
There is math that they figured out to do that.
yeah.
So have you been sleeping okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Everything-
No,
you're
my
okay.
kids have been way excited about it because on YouTube you can track it. Like it'll show
Oh.
you how far from the Earth it is and like what stages it's gone through and stuff. So we're about halfway there to just getting to where it's going.
Yeah.
And then I was wrong. It's not like it's just going to fire up and take pictures. It's going to be another 6 months.
Yeah, it'll be
of
later this year.
calibrating before we'll get any images out.
Is this staying in orbit or is it getting shot out into space?
So
It's like out by the
going-
moon,
It's
right?
going like, so the distance from the Earth to the moon, if you times that by like 5, probably, it's out past the moon. And it's going to like
Wow.
stay out there, but not like directly behind the moon. It'll kind of rotate this way as it follows behind Earth's orbit, if that kind of makes
But
sense.
it still has the pull from the Earth. It'll still orbit the
Yeah,
Earth.
well, where they're putting it, the idea is to just keep it in that distance as it rotates around the sun. Because it's got to be far enough away that it's super cold, because it's got to be really cold for the sensors on this thing to work. Like, really cold, like next to 0 Kelvin, like molecules are barely
Is it
moving.
colder, like a couple 100,000 miles away from the Earth, than it is like?
In the White House, where they're breaking windows and
Apparently. I thought Trent was going to say it.
Yeah, I
intercepted.
wasn't going that route this one
Go
time.
ahead. Well done, though, Jake.
Very nice, very nice. So that's exciting. Still coming along. One last bit before we close.
But wait, I have a question.
What?
Your kids are excited about this?
Yeah.
Has their excitement exceeded the decibel levels during? No.
No, it's usually
they're like-
we sit down for dinner and they're like, turn on the telescope, and we turn it on, and like 5 seconds later they're like, change it, Dad.
Oh, that's the excitement you're talking about. Oh, okay.
I
makes
mean,
sense.
you can see where it is in like a second. So.
Yeah, that's cool though.
But it should be exciting. But anyway, I like to cook, but I, as you guys know, I don't follow recipes or anything. I just kind of
Yeah,
figure
we've
stuff
we've
out.
seen that.
Yeah.
before.
So sometimes,
Or temperatures.
sometimes it turns out good. Sometimes it's a disaster. And so one thing that everyone listening is probably already knows this, but I've only recently like figured it out. So I just wanted to share it in case there are people like me
What?
that are like trying to figure cooking out.
Oh.
But I found that you shouldn't turn your meat. That I often rotated my meat too soon. And when that happens, you don't get that charry, juicy, I call them the juicy bits.
Wait a sec.
Like in a
What are you
pan.
cooking right now?
Like chicken, salmon, steak,
So
pork,
solid pieces of meat.
any meat, right?
Well, not hamburgers.
Not
You better be flipping them
Even hamburgers. So,
once or twice. You got to flip it twice.
yeah, you got to flip it twice. But that's what I'm saying is I would flip it like 8 times.
Oh, that's too much.
Yeah.
You're just playing with your meat at that point.
It's pretty much what I'm finding out is pretty much what I'm finding out
Keep going, Phil.
is pretty much all meat is a one flip deal.
I
Like,
agree.
So exactly, you already know, but I hadn't realized until recently.
No.
And if you actually char it on the pan, really good, and then like pour a little water in there that breaks that up and like gets all the juiciness all over the meat. I really like that.
So I'll tell you how I cook a lot of meat, and this is just a very generalized idea. Okay, like when I cooked on charcoal, I'd put all my charcoal on one end of the barbecue, or I'm running on propane. I have 4 burners. I'll turn 2 of them all the way up,
Yeah.
all the
One
way up,
side.
and I'll turn the other side way down. But with charcoal, I won't put any charcoal. Anyways, the whole point is you slap your meat on the hot side,
Yeah.
and start searing it. And usually I'll put it there once. I'll flip it, get it nice and charred, right?
on both sides.
Get it charred on the other side. Then you're setting it on the other side. Here's how I think about it in my mind. I'm basically, because there's this one video I watched of Dave Ramsey cooking a steak inside, and it was amazing.
Gordon Ramsay?
Dave Ramsey, and then Gordon Ramsay.
Dave Ramsey talks about how much
He
it
had
cost.
a pile of money, put it on the seared each side. No, yeah, you're right. Gordon Ramsay. Sorry. But anyways, the whole idea is like sear it and then basically put it in an ambient heat. Like
Yeah.
you don't want too much direct heat to cook it. But his whole way of cooking it was on a stovetop in a cast iron. Like you sear it on both sides and then you throw it in the oven
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to finish cooking it.
Right.
And then you, depending on how long you put it in the oven, is if you're going to get your medium rare or well done.
when
or
the
whatever.
internal temperature reaches
Right.
what you want it.
Exactly.
135 degrees.
Yeah. So
And-
that's awesome, Phil.
And what I've realized though is because when I would sear, I'm like, I want it to sear good, so I get the heat as high as I can. But what I've noticed from watching like a lot of Japanese, like teppanyaki style guys cook, is that thing's not flaming hot. It's like a medium high temperature, and they leave it there a little bit longer. And I found I get more juicy bits doing it that way. So like instead of cranking it to max and searing it, I'll turn it to like 7 or 8.
3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sear it a little bit longer. And I find I get a better sear that way. And I might get more internal like temperature. And so I'm not doing like the oven or something else quite as long. But this is all just stovetop, like in the cast iron pan. The grill, usually I can never get a grill hot enough. Like I'm always wanting it hotter. But
Yeah.
I found I get that crust nicely through smoking too.
Yeah.
Like just a long time doing the smoke. But cooking it a little slower, a little longer tends to break the fat down a little more and just be really good. Anyway,
Yeah.
So that's something I've improved in the last year is just like searing with a little more patience, not flipping so much,
Yeah.
and just like let it do its thing. If it burns to the pan a little, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like
It's good.
yeah. So
Another method that Dave Ramsey, I'm sure, probably does, but Gordon Ramsay definitely likes to do the butter basting
Yeah.
on the cast iron thing. You put a whole bunch of butter in there, maybe some garlic cloves and rosemary, and just take the melted butter and scoop it on top of the steak for like, I don't know, a minute or
just-
so.
yeah,
Just own it. You just master baste that meat.
Yep. Yeah.
exactly. And I've noticed too from watching Gordon Ramsay that with eggs, like I'll cook with a ton of butter because like when I watched him cook some eggs, it was like a whole stick of butter. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like boiling the thing, and that's what I do now. Like,
Yeah.
just it makes a good egg.
Butter's great.
Yeah, it sure is.
Whoever invented that is great.
And on that note, thank you for listening to the American Forked podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, something else.
Facebook.
We have email addresses and a website. But most important is the Patreon, where you give us money so that you can continue listening to us for all time.
So we can justify showing up with our wives.
I would say the most important is rate and review on iTunes.
That's true.
Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
And tell your friends.
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
even
share an
more.
episode. Like, hey, I listened to this. Trent actually thinks that there was an insurrection at the White House. Listen.
Yeah, if you're like arguing on Facebook whether or not it was an insurrection, be like, I agree with this guy.
Right.
And you'll always be right because we're always going to have
Two
an
different
opposing
opinions.
view. So,
But obviously, Trent was so upset he had to leave for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I think his goat was dying or something.
see you, goats. So
Yep.
anyway, thank you for joining.
Wait,
There he
did you
is.
talk about Dave
Shh,
Bateman?
there he is.
Who?
Dave Bateman,
Who's that?
the guy that said the Jews are in charge. of
Oh,
the vaccine.
bonus content.
Oh, I did
P.S.
hear about that. But who is Dave Bateman?
He started a company called Entrada. He won a at the time it was called Property Solutions.
Oh,
but
that's
he went
right.
to
Tyler
BYU.
was saying he worked at it.
Yeah, he went to BYU, won like a $200,000 like prize, whatever, for like an idea for a startup for a business or whatever.
Yeah.
But he got a big property management software, and then like the owner of the Jazz, he's an investor. They're supposed to go public soon.
And he said something about Jews.
The exact quote escapes me, but essentially saying that he sent out an email saying that
Better be careful, kind of thing.
He's
No.
now on the board of the company.
he's not anymore.
Right, right. But as
And-
a board member of the company, he sent an email to the company.
No, he didn't send it to the company. He sent it to like politicians and stuff like that.
Oh,
Saying that you guys better watch out. Like the vaccine is just meant to control essentially Christians and like murder us.
and the Jews are responsible for it.
This is
cut
a
and
real
dry.
thing that
Yeah.
happened, Phil.
Oh, really?
That's actually what he
crazy.
said.
That is crazy.
I can't believe that people have like. There's a lot of hate in the world. Just to have it directed at one whole, whether it's race or religion or whatever, is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what that is based on. Like, did he grow up next to a Jewish family who were jerks? Or more likely, was it like his dad made a comment when he was 5, like, oh, those Jews, or whatever. And then his whole life was like, yeah. Like, how do people get that way? How do they not? As a child, I understand. But when you grow up and you're like, oh,
As a
people.
child, you understand.
Well, I mean, like, as a child.
You only listen to your parents' opinion, and it's different nowadays.
Right. When you grow up, though, you're like, oh, my parents were
You'd,
wrong.
you'd think
about
that as an
this.
adult,
Like,
he would be more cordial and respectful of a group of people,
Or more educated.
and and not be like super extremely racist like that.
No, but Jon Stewart got in trouble too.
Who is Jewish, right?
Who is Jewish? No, he didn't get in trouble. J.K. Rowling was in trouble, and all the headlines were reading. Jon Stewart says that Harry Potter is anti-Semitic, and when you trace it back, it's because he's on a podcast or whatever, and he's making a joke, and he's like, "Yeah, they go into Gringotts, and all the goblins are like taking care of all the money," and he's like, "Are you kidding me? These are the Jews," or something like that, and he's joking. And then
Jon Stewart said
Jon Stewart is
was-
making a joke.
made that joke.
everyone's up in arms, and Jon Stewart finally comes out and is like, "At no time did I call J.K. Rowling anti-Semitic. It was a joke." Like,
Right.
anyway,
Just
like,
completely
say-
taken out of context, which the media is not known to do that.
No, they usually don't take things out of context at all.
So anyway, thanks again for being on with us on the American Fork podcast. This is going to be a great year. So many great things are going to happen in people's lives, and we're going to talk about it
We've
in a
actually-
respectful way.
We've actually have some cool guests potentially lined up. As soon as we get this darn studio done, we're going to get them in here and interview. It's going to be a
Dang
lot of
diddly
fun.
dang dang.
Dang diddly dang dang.
Darn diddle darn.
See you later.
American Fort. American